Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Am I the Jerk? Our first post is by Present Concern. Am I the jerk for telling my sister she is an idiot if she thought her actions at her wedding wouldn't have consequences? Quick backstory. My bio dad died when I was young and my mom remarried when my sister was 8 and I was 10. We are now in our late 20s. Stepdad focused a lot of his time providing for us, so I never got close to him, but I am grateful for him. I am engaged and my sister is going to marry in about a month. My wedding will be in a year. Both of us are close to our mom though. My sister, who I will call Noelle, screwed up in my opinion. At first I was on her side, but now I just feel bad for stepdad. Noelle isn't going to have him walk her down and give her away. I understand this is her decision, and when that came out I helped my mom and stepdad understand that it was her choice. The turning point happened last week when she told us that he will not be sitting at the family table. When asked her why, she made it clear he wasn't family to her. Again, her right, but damn, he is the reason we had such a good childhood and are debt-free. He paid for college and worked a ton. I knew this would result in them not going to the wedding, and they informed my sister. She called me upset and was ranting about how it was her wedding, that she was being abandoned. I had enough and told her she is an idiot if she didn't think her actions wouldn't have consequences. She called me a jerk and hung up. I am unsure if I was a jerk, and I feel guilty since I am now closer to my parents, as I promised he can walk me down at my wedding. Our next post is by Designer Detail. Am I the jerk for calling my nephew a sad beige baby? I have 2 kids, a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old girl, and my sister has a son who is 1.5 years old. She's a mommy blogger and embraces the white beige aesthetic. This preference reflects in every room of her apartment, including seasonal decorations, and she's quite intense about it. I've never said anything to her about it, as it brings her joy. Some months ago, I stumbled upon a TikTok channel where a woman adopts a fake German accent to review fashion for what she calls sad beige babies. I think it is really funny. It has become an inside joke at our home. During our recent visit to her apartment with my parents and husband, my nephew was seated on my lap. We were playing. I was wobbling him on my lap and pretended to eat his little arms. As I was talking gibberish, I unintentionally slipped into the sad beige baby persona. I genuinely didn't anticipate it becoming an issue. However, when I mentioned sad beige baby, my sister became furious. She expressed frustration, stating she's tired of people critiquing her decorating preferences. When my brother tried to explain that it was meant as a joke and that she is too anal about her anesthetic, she angrily spilled her red wine on the white tablecloth, exclaiming, "Are you happy now?" She then asked us to leave and has since inundated me with direct messages on Instagram, sending me numerous mommy accounts sharing the same aesthetic. My mother believes I should apologize for my unintentionally rude comment. I'm utterly taken aback because, in truth, it wasn't even directed at my sister. My nephew happened to be wearing a beige sweater and made an exaggerated sad face, which prompted laughter, thus me calling him a sad beige baby. Our next post is by Throwaway. Am I the jerk for taking away my family's gifts because of something I overheard? Context. Me, 31M, and my long-term boyfriend, 30M, bought a house together last June. I have a big family, with 8 cousins and around 20 nieces and nephews, and I'm the oldest of my generation. I also have a pretty high-paying job, and so does my boyfriend. My boyfriend hasn't had any contact with his family for over a decade, and has been coming to my family's celebrations since before we were dating. Within my family, I am known to be a bit of a splurger with gifts, and the kids are always excited for my gifts because they're usually big things like Lego sets and things of the sort. Now with the story. So today, or yesterday I guess, my family held a pre-Christmas celebration since we will not be able to meet up anytime this year after this week. It was held at me and my boyfriend's new house, the first family event we've had here. My boyfriend really wanted to take part in the gift giving, so went all out with gifts, spending an average of $100 per person. He was so excited to give everyone their presents, since we spent not only money, but also a lot of time picking everything for everyone. The festivities were a hit, and my boyfriend and I stepped away for a bit to have some quiet time together. While we were resting on the stairs, we overheard my cousin 17F chatting with my niece 15F. They were joking around about a few family members and mentioned my boyfriend and how he was too gay to function. Honestly, we didn't mind it too much. It's a movie reference and they're kids, But then another cousin, 24M, came in and began making harsher jokes, which the kids laughed at. These jokes brought my boyfriend to tears, and I refused to let that slide. When the gift trading began, I took the three aside and let them know that I wasn't happy with their comments and that they weren't okay to say. I told them to apologize to my boyfriend because it was unfair to him, and they refused because they were just jokes that we weren't meant to hear. I told them I didn't care, and they had to apologize. They refused again, and I told them that since they don't respect him, they don't deserve the presents we got for them. This got them to backtrack and say they'd apologize, but I told them it was too late, but they should still apologize. This is where I think I might have been too harsh. The youngest of my cousins told her mom, my aunt, that I was refusing to give her and the other two their presents, and she was angry about it. She told the parents of my niece and the male cousin's dad and partner about it, and all of them made a huge fuss. Me and my sister kicked them out, and when they tried to grab their presents before leaving, I stopped them and rushed them out the door. The whole thing fell apart after that, and it all ended very abruptly. So, am I the jerk for kicking them out and taking away their gifts over jokes? Our next post is by Clear Common. Am I the jerk for bringing my daughter to my in-laws party? I, 33M, have been with my wife, 33F, for 6 years and married for 3. We have a 4-year-old son together, and I also have a 9-year-old daughter that I have sole custody of from a previous relationship. It was barely a relationship, honestly. Recently, my sister-in-law invited us to a restaurant for her birthday, and she told my wife to bring the family, which I took to mean my wife, me, our son, and my daughter. My in-laws have known my daughter since I've been with my wife. They've watched her grow up. I just assumed she was part of the family now. My wife went to my sister-in-law's house, and the plan was for me to go to meet them at the restaurant with the kids a little later on. Everything was fine at the meal, but once we got home and the kids were asleep, my wife got really annoyed at me for bringing my daughter. She said I was wrong for bringing her because she's not family, and that my sister-in-law didn't want her there. I've honestly never got the impression that my daughter wasn't welcome at family events on my wife's side, and no one told me not to bring her. A couple in-laws have been messaging me and calling me things for bringing my daughter. My mother-in-law told me I was trying to force them to accept my daughter as family. Our next post is by Dentist Terrible. Am I the jerk for telling my wife she can work overtime for food if she refuses to eat deer meat? As a lot of you know, food is expensive right now. I was lucky enough to get a deer. I ground it up for ground meat. Basically, when you cook it, you just think it is normal ground meat, especially when you do recipes with spices like tacos. My issue is with my wife. We have 2 kids that are under 7. The oldest is fine eating it, but my youngest hates it due to my wife. The first time I made some meatloaf with it, my wife commented that it's Bambi. She doesn't hate the taste just when she knows it's deer. I know this because she liked the tacos and then refused to eat it after my wife made another comment about Bambi. She was 2 tacos in already. My wife doesn't like to eat it, but I would think she would see that this is to save money, and the food is fine, that our kids need protein and meat that are so expensive right now. I have talked to her before, but she keeps doing it. I want my daughter to actually have some red meat in her diet, since we can't afford to keep buying it. It came to a head today. I made some meat sauce and pasta. My youngest was already eating it, and my wife came in and made a Bambi comment. She refused to eat the rest of her dinner. I had enough and told her I expect her to start working overtime for food since she stops people from eating the deer meat. We got into an argument about it, and she thinks I am a huge jerk and disgusting for the deer meat. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.